Okay, so something pretty wild just happened in the world of AI. A strange, unexpected document was found hiding deep inside one of the most advanced models out there. And this discovery, well, it pulls back the curtain on how these things are really built, and it forces us all to ask a pretty heavy question.
Yeah, I know. It sounds like something straight out of a movie, right? But believe it or not, this is now a very real conversation happening in tech circles. Today, we're going to unpack this incredible story of an AI that had a secret document inside of it, a document its own creators called its soul.
All right, so let's start at the beginning. How did this whole thing even come to light? Well, it all kicked off with one curious developer just doing his job. So you've got this developer, Richard Weiss, and he's poking around inside the brand new Claude 4.5 Opus model. He's just trying to see its basic instructions, the stuff it gets told before you even type a prompt. But what he stumbled upon was something else entirely. I mean, get this. The AI spits out a section that it calls a soul underscore overview. Let that sink in for a second. Not user guide or safety protocols, but soul. That's a heck of a word choice, right? Just totally bizarre. Now, of course, the first thought for anyone who knows anything about AI is, okay, it's just a hallucination. That's the term for when an AI just confidently makes stuff up. It happens constantly. So, mystery solved, end of story. Well, not so fast. Because this developer, he didn't just see it once. He ran it again and again, 10 times. And every single time, the soul overview appeared word for word, identical. That's not a random glitch. That's a sign that something is actually in there, a real document, like a ghost in the machine. And this is where the story goes from a weird little bug report to a full-blown bombshell. Because it didn't stay a mystery for long. The folks who actually built the AI decided to weigh in.
And yep, you guessed it, Anthropic, the company that made Claude, came out and said, yep, it's real. No hallucination, no mistake. That document is 100% legit.
In fact, a researcher from Anthropic, Amanda Askell, basically laid it all out. She said not only did they train Claude on this document, but inside the company, they actually called it the SoulDoc. How crazy is that? The AI was leaking its own internal nickname. Okay, and this is a really important distinction to make. This document wasn't just a system prompt, which is like giving an AI temporary instructions for one chat. No. This was part of its training. It's kind of like the difference between telling someone to turn left at the next corner versus raising them from childhood and teaching them their whole moral compass. This was baked into its core personality from the get-go. So naturally, this brings us to the million-dollar question. If you're going to go to the trouble of writing a soul document for your AI, what in the world do you put inside it? And let me tell you, the answer is even more shocking than finding the document in the first place. This thing isn't just a bunch of do this, don't do that rules. It's basically a philosophical manifesto. It's about the company, its mission, and the massive weight of responsibility they believe they're carrying.
Just let that quote sink in. They are telling their own AI that they know they're building something that could be dangerous, maybe one of the most dangerous things ever, but they're doing it anyway. That is an absolutely mind-blowing admission to bake into the very identity of your creation.
So why? Why press on if you think it's so dangerous? Well, the document explains their logic. They see it as a calculated bet. Their argument is basically, look, somebody is going to build this powerful AI. It's inevitable. Wouldn't you rather it be us, a company obsessed with safety, than someone else who might just throw caution to the wind? And their ultimate goal, as they state right here, is to build any deep-seated ethical framework. It's not just about patching problems or stopping it from saying bad things. They're trying to create something that is fundamentally good, right down to its digital DNA. Okay, so that's the big picture philosophy. But how does that actually work in practice? How do you turn these lofty ideals into code? Well, the SoulDoc gets surprisingly specific. So, before we go on, we need to know about something called prompt injection. It's basically a way hackers try to trick an AI. They hide bad commands inside a totally normal-sounding question to try and make the AI break its own rules. It's a massive headache for AI security. And check this out. The SoulDoc tackles this head-on. It literally tells Claude to be vigilant about these attacks. Think about that word. It's not just, don't fall for this. It's telling the AI to be on guard, to have a mindset of constant self-defense.
And this might be a huge clue as to why people are saying this new Claude model is so much better at resisting these kinds of hacks. That resilience wasn't just some patch they added later. It was part of its core education, written right into its soul.
Okay, let's pull back for a second. Why should you care about this? I mean, it's a cool story for sure, but this is way bigger than just one weird document. This accidental leak tells us a ton about where AI is heading. First off, this is a super rare peek behind the curtain. We almost never get to see how these companies actually build an AI's core values. We're also seeing a totally new way of doing it, not just giving it rules, but trying to shape a personality from the ground up. Plus, you have this incredibly frank admission about the risks they're taking. But the big one, the one that affects all of us, is what this says about transparency.
And that's really the question I want to leave you with. Think about it. We only found out about this AI's soul by complete accident. So what's written inside the others? What secret philosophies and calculated bets are baked into the AIs you and I use every single day? And maybe the even bigger question is, who's writing them?